Hello everybody, I am Fuzzyface. Welcome back to another edition of this Motorsport Manager career. We're back with the Williams team. We've got round 6, the Vancouver Grand Prix coming up today in Canada. If you've watched this series before, round 6, the Vancouver Grand Prix is the second part of the season where I can introduce upgrades. More specifically, power upgrades can go into the car from round 6, and next time we can introduce upgrades is round 10 in Milan. We have got 2 new engine builds, 2 new gearbox builds and a new brakes build going into the car for this race. We'll head on over there in a second. There is a couple of changes to this series at the moment. I have changed the qualifying times from the long qualifying sessions down to the 15-minute short qualifying sessions. That is just to make it a little bit easier on myself, because it was almost like pure torture doing the 3 30-minute sessions where there were no cars out on track at all. So we've just changed that up, going through the save game file and changing up the qualifying times. I've also fixed the reliability problems for the Mercedes and the Ferrari teams. They were the only ones that were struggling with reliability. It's a little bit too unrealistic for me that we were getting into round 6 and they were still having reliability problems with their car. So we've gone ahead and fixed that now, which should sort of get rid of the anomaly of us winning from this point forward, hopefully. I say hopefully. I would like to win, but obviously it's a little bit too unrealistic. We've got the 4th best car. We don't really have the best drivers to be winning as much as we have been. Some of it's down to the strategy that we've employed during the races through the safety car. Some of it's down to do with the reliability of the other cars. But we've had 2 wins this season from Esteban Ocon, and we've had a win in the last race from Lando Norris. He did absolutely excellent there. So we're just going to head on over to the car here. We have been improving the parts that we've got, so everything is reliable enough that we've got going in the car. So obviously we've got a lot of room still to go on the parts that we're upgrading performance-wise, so we're just going to switch over now to Dave Robson's side of the garage. He's going to get working on upgrading all these parts. We've still got a lot of room to go there, so we're going to head in. We've got this new brakes build to go in the car. It's not much of an improvement at the moment, but it does have the potential to get a lot higher. That is 54 points it can improve, so we're just going to stick that one in Ocon's car since his is a little bit more unreliable. So we'll just switch that one, even though it's a little bit worse off. We want that one in the car. That is the one we're going to be using. The engine build that we've got now is actually the best one in the game, so we've actually gone back to the front of the pack as regards to engine. So who's got the best engine at the moment? It is Esteban Ocon who's got the best one, so he'll get the best one, and Lando Norris will still get the second best gearbox. And as we move on to the Esteban Ocon's got the best engine, Lando Norris gets the second best one, and as for the gearbox, it is Ocon that's got the best one. And there's not that much difference between the gearboxes at the moment, so it evens up the cars a little bit more. Esteban Ocon, being the former Mercedes driver, he's got the car that's a little bit more power orientated, whereas Lando Norris, being with McLaren, who often claim they've got the best chassis, his car's got a better aero package than that of Ocon. So it sort of goes to their strengths in the teams that they've been with previously, is how we sort of work things out. They're both delighted with the car, 4% and 11%, 5% and 12%, so I'm pretty happy with that. So we're going to jump straight in to practice now, which we're going to skip over, and we'll be back for what seems like it's going to be a rainy qualifying, so we'll see how things pan out there. We might get a few cars a little bit higher up the order if some get caught out by the rain, but anyway, we'll be back in Q3 to go over our qualifying laps if both drivers manage to get there. So here we go with the first qualifying run in Q3. Norris is just coming across the line. We actually managed to get through Q2 pretty easily this time. Norris has struggled to get through Q2 a few other times. We've got a few cars out late. Vettel's out on the ultra softs in the rain here for some reason. Norris is actually going quickest at the moment, although who we've seen go quicker, Alex Lynn is actually quickest in that Ferrari. Why Vettel came out on the ultra soft, I think he came out a little bit too early on this track, so we might actually have picked up a little bit of an advantage here. Obviously we always send our cars out at the same time. We followed the first round of cars coming out. It took everyone quite a long time to come out of the pit stops this time, but Norris is currently second behind Alex Lynn. Ocon goes the tiniest bit quicker than Norris, 4/1000ths of a second there. Vettel a long way off here. He could be way out of position here because it looks like it's just going to get really rainy to the end of the session. I think it's just going to be full wets pretty much when the cars come out of the pits at the end of the session, so we're possibly not going to do a second lap here. So we'll just keep this as a little bit of a mystery, and we'll be back in a second to go over the grid. So here we go with the grid for the 2020 Canadian Grand Prix. Kevin Magnussen ahead of his teammate for once here. on the front row of the grid. The Silver Arrows getting a front row lockout. Lewis Hamilton in second. Roman Grosjean really high up on the second row of the grid. Third place for Roman Grosjean in the Haas. Alex Lynn in the Ferrari up into fourth place. Danny Rick in fifth in the Red Bull. Pascal Wehrlein, his teammate, just behind him in that second Red Bull. We've got Nico Hulkenberg in seventh, and then we're followed by our two cars, Ocon and Lando Norris. We must have been out on the track for maybe a quarter or half of the lap where the intermediate wasn't quite effective. We are about half a second down on the cars in front of us. And Vettel, he came out on the ultra soft for some reason. He came back out at the end of the race on the wet tyre, wasn't able to go quicker. Look at that, 8 seconds behind there, the pole sitter of Kevin Magnussen. As you can see, all the tyres are unlocked. That is because there was rain in Q2, so all the tyres are unlocked. There's a free choice of tyre compound. It seems like, I know we've got a few going for the super soft. I think we saw Vettel there as well. Pascal's going for that. Even on this ultra soft, our strategy is going to be ultra soft, soft, and then soft. We're going to two-stop this race. I don't think going ultra soft, super soft, soft, the three-stop strategy wouldn't work out here. Vancouver does have a short pit lane. It does take about 15 seconds, which is a little bit less than usual. But anyway, we'll go outside the top 10. We see Stoffel Van Dorn starting on the ultra softs in the McLaren ahead of his teammate Valtteri Bottas starting on the super softs. Valtteri has flu, which explains his performance being a little bit down on where he has been recently. Bottas has been going really well in that McLaren. I don't know what's up with the times here. It's not even showing what's up with the times here for these cars outside the top 10. I don't know what that means, but anyway, we've got Charles Leclerc 13th, Max Verstappen 14th, Felix Rosenqvist 15th in the Renault, Pierre Gasly 16th in the Toro Rosso, Carlos Sainz, who's got a fever at the moment, he's all the way down in 17th, Sergio Perez in the Force India 18th, and on the back row of the grid, as usual, we've got Billy Johnson and Marcus Ericsson in the Toro Rosso and the Alfa Romeo Sauber, respectively. But we're just hoping to get a decent start. We need to look after these tyres a little bit. It is a long race here, but the laps are pretty short, so we just need to look after the tyres in the early going. It looks like nope, and we've got one of the McLarens running wide there. That was Valtteri Bottas, who falls all the way to the back of the order, which is going to work out for us as Bottas would have been coming at us. But that is Carlos Sainz moving up the inside of Norris. Sainz gets himself up into 10th, having made an excellent start. We do have a little bit of room to push because these soft tyres, I'm thinking we can get 19 laps out of them, so that will be 38 laps from 2 of those. This ultra soft should be able to do 9 or so laps, even with a little bit of pushing. It looks like the race is going to be pretty dry for most of the race. If there is any rain, it's going to come right at the end. But as it is, Ocon is making a move here on Pascal Wehrlein. Can't get round the outside, whilst Norris has moved himself back ahead of Carlos Sainz and is currently pressuring Nico Hulkenberg. So we're going to get pushing here a little bit with Lando Norris. See if he can make this move down this straight. We've got this really powerful engine in this car, so if we can make that move, and then we can just switch back down here. We're going to focus back on Ocon. He's got Danny Rick in front of him at the moment. Norris, meanwhile, is on Pascal Wehrlein here. Can we get past Pascal Wehrlein here as well? And should we give Ocon the freedom to push as well for maybe a lap? See if we can just sort of catch a Red Bull. Norris should have the pace to get past his second Red Bull of Wehrlein. Possibly not around this part of the course, but he does. I was going to say that he would have the pace down the straight, but he gets past him before then, so we'll just let him push a little bit longer. And we're a little bit slow out of that corner with Ocon. As we see, are we quick enough to start catching these cars down the straight? Look at that, we're catching up to that Red Bull into that corner. Heavy braking zone as we head into the chicane, and over we go into the left-hander down here, and we managed to take Sebastian Vettel there. And we're just going to look after these tyres now for a little bit, so we'll switch the fuel back down. We might as well recover the fuel as well and leave ourselves a bit of room for pushing a little bit later as we come under pressure from Sebastian Vettel there, as Ocon got the pace out of the corner. And who is that? That's Roman Grosjean in front. Vettel is going to get past us here. Norris coming up on his teammate pretty quickly as well. Ocon drops to 7th. We do want to try and keep us ahead of Sebastian Vettel here, so we're going to get pushing once again down this straight. Look at that. If we got the power on, Vettel moves forward, shunts under and brakes late into that corner to stay ahead of Esteban Ocon. We're sort of approaching the sort of pit window. If we could do about 6 laps on this tyre, that would be perfect. So we do have room to push here and get into the pits, although I don't think I changed the pit crew. We've got a little bit of risk there, but it's only for the guys that are fixing the parts, so that's alright. So we do have room to push, and we should be quicker than everyone else at pit stops as well. So we have a chance at undercutting as well if we get onto these softs a little bit earlier, and we take Roman Grosjean there, so we'll get Ocon down. Norris, meanwhile, he's putting Sebastian Vettel under pressure. We're going to see how good this engine is as we get past Vettel on the hairpin corner. Can we pull away and get on the back of Roman Grosjean here? Norris flying down the really long straight here in Vancouver. Norris doing excellent. Ocon doing excellent as well. I'm hoping we're going to pick up some places maybe on Danny Rick as well. Maybe Red Bull aren't going to be smart and they may be doing the 3-stop strategy. We'll just check whether there's rain. It looks like it's clear all the way past lap 33. We can't see the last 10 or so laps yet. I'm guessing it's going to be dry for the last part of this Grand Prix as well. So it's going to be a fully dry race, even though there was rain pretty much all the way through qualifying. And Norris, meanwhile, we're going to get past maybe 9 laps on this ultra soft tyre. It's sort of degrading. We might get another 2 out of it. But Norris under pressure from Vettel, and Norris puts his foot down, manages to stay ahead. Vettel struggling on this super soft. He's on a slower tyre. Are we going to be able to see Norris stay ahead here? Let's get him up into overtake mode. Is he going to be able to come back at Vettel into this chicane down at the end? Norris manages to hold on there, and we'll just get him turned down. We sort of want to get in the pits this time. Should we get one of our cars in this lap? I think we'll go with... No, Norris's tyre is a little bit more worn out. Norris's tyre possibly will go this time, so he's going to get his first pit stop out of the way. Pit strategy here. We're going to get in and we're going to stay balanced here, so Norris is going to dive into the pits. And hopefully we don't have any mistakes here. Norris is going to drop quite far down the order. He's going to come back out in 19th place. He's got a little bit of clear air to run in here. We're gonna try and get the undercut sort of working as well, even though there's not many cars to undercut. And we're going to get Ocon in for this soft tyre. His tyres are about to start degrading here, but we should be able to push him into the pit still. If we can get him in, he's ahead of Grosjean, Verline, Vettel down in 7th place. So Vettel struggling to get past the Haas and the Red Bulls. The Red Bull in front of him. So Ocon's going to get in here, and he's into the pits, and hopefully he's going to have a decent pit stop as well. No mistakes hopefully, and straight back out here. Ocon's further up the road than his teammate, and we'll just look after these soft tyres because we want to get onto the end on 2 pairs of soft tyres. We've got Danny Rick just in front of us. We've got pretty close there. We should have the run on Danny Rick here because we've got a much stronger engine than the Red Bulls. If we can outrun Danny Rick into the chicane here, we can do so. That moves Ocon up a place here. What is Daniel Ricciardo doing on the soft tyre? He's in conserve mode. Not even that, he's in backup mode at the moment. So if we got some room to push here and get away from Daniel Ricciardo, if we can just move away from Danny Rick here, put ourselves in a better position. Meanwhile, Norris is struggling to clear some cars here, but he's finally managed to get past Marcus Ericsson. It looks like we're behind Lynn here. We'll give Norris a little bit of room to push as well, especially down this pit straight where we know we're really powerful here. We come around the hairpin. If we can get onto the back of the Force India of Perez and Ricciardo, and we've got Daniel Ricciardo just a little bit further down the road in front of us. Ocon meanwhile has managed to get out in front of Lynn. We're going to clear the Sauber of Charles Leclerc here. We get past it, looks like Lynn's going to clear the Sauber easily. No, he doesn't. We managed to get ahead there, so that's going to work out well for us here, so we can get turned back down for a little bit now. Norris meanwhile is on the back of this Force India of Perez already. We're going to keep him in overtake mode at the moment. This is going to be our main point of pushing in this Grand Prix as we sort of try and clear the traffic that's sort of built up in front of us. We should have the run on Perez here down this really long straight. If we can get the run into this hairpin cut, into this chicane, and we're a little bit slow on the straight there is Norris, so we've got Perez coming into the pit, so his super soft is almost worn away here. He's slowing Norris down a little bit. We're going to get in front of him just before he comes into the pit so we can get turned down as well. With Norris, we'll start recovering the fuel as well. Ocon is just recovering as well. Norris is right on the back here, so should we try take Danny Rick down this straight here? If we can get a good exit off this hairpin corner into the straight, we could have the Red Bull of Danny Rick here, whereas Ocon is losing a place to Felix Rosenqvist at the moment. And pushing the tyres like this is not going to do our strategy any good, but if we can get past Ricciardo and then clear Charles Leclerc pretty quickly as well, it should put us in good stead for staying in front of that Red Bull there. So we're going to turn down with Norris now. Ocon meanwhile is now under pressure from his teammate, and Alex Lynn goes through as well, so we've got a little bit of room to push with Ocon as well, just because we've been pushing a little bit more with Norris, but Norris managed to make that pass on his teammate. We've got Ocon pushing here, so Ocon should get this place back, as Norris tries to make that move on Lynn. Lets his teammate back pass through, and Ocon clears Lynn as well. We'll keep him pushing to try clear Rosenqvist as well, who's running a little bit slow here. And that is Sebastian Vettel, who's run long and got himself up the order here. So Vettel comes out of the pits a little bit higher up, and he ran a really long time on that super soft tyre there. So he's moved himself ahead of both our Williams here. I think he was behind Norris when we made that first round of pit stops. But Ocon, meanwhile, is still under pressure from Lynn and Rosenqvist. I don't really want to push this tyre anymore as it is at the moment, just because we've got our strategy of running 2 stops, which is what we're still chasing here. We've got our 2 Williams fighting with each other and with the Ferrari of Alex Lynn and Danny. No, that's Pascal Wehrlein just behind. Where's Danny Rick gone? He's down in 11th. He's still struggling with that Sauber of Charles Leclerc. So it's Pascal Wehrlein who's behind in that Red Bull. And Ocon, meanwhile, we're just going to hold position behind this Ferrari for a little bit as we just try recover and cool down a few things. Back on lap 16 now. Alex Lynn was running really slow there. Don't know whether he ran wide or what, but he was just running really slow there. It slowed down Vettel. It's allowed Ocon to get past as well, so he managed to make a move on both Ferraris there. Esteban Ocon, though, he's going to fall back as Alex Lynn has now recovered, but Ocon shows a little bit burst of speed there, and he moves up into 3rd place. Norris, meanwhile, going too wide with Danny Rick into that corner. Looks like Danny Rick's got the run on him out of here, but Ocon, meanwhile, battling with these Ferraris. Got a 5-way battle here for 3rd place, even a 6-way battle as Danny Rick's right on the back end. Pascal Wehrlein moves up to 5th place. He's chopping and changing here. And there, what is that? Is that Lynn going? Lynn just goes slow down the straights every time for some reason. I don't know why. And that is Danny Rick who's got past Lando Norris here. So an epic battle going on here between the 3 teams. We've got the 2 Mercedes a long way out in front. It's just a battle for this 3rd place. We're now right at the back of this pack at the moment of these cars that are running for this 3rd place, battling away here. And Ocon and Norris currently battling out. Should we give one of our guys a little bit of room to push here? We've got a little bit of room to push with Ocon. So we're going to get him, see if he can get close to this Red Bull of Wehrlein. He's got past Danny Rick at the moment. Can we get Wehrlein at some point and get on the back of the Ferrari of Alex Lynn, whereas Vettel has now managed to get clear. Vettel's moving himself up the road now. He's managed to get into clear air. He's managed to clear the traffic. Ocon, meanwhile, has made this move on Alex Lynn, so we're going to turn back down now, and maybe we'll concentrate on Norris going down this really long straight coming out of the hairpin. See if we can get him caught up back up to these Red Bulls. It looks like Norris doesn't quite have the pace to keep up with the Red Bulls and the Ferraris this weekend, so we might just turn him down. We do want to get this 2-stop strategy still on the radar here, so just concentrate on Ocon, try and keep him ahead of these 3 cars that are fighting him for 4th place. Meanwhile, Vettel is off down the road now. He's 3 seconds ahead. He managed to clear this group of cars, which is now a 5-way battle for 4th place. So Ocon, meanwhile, just keep him ahead of Lynn down the straight. Lynn makes a really good exit off that hairpin, and for once he doesn't slow down the straight. Ocon now into the chicane. It looks like we're behind Lynn here. I'm guessing the Ferraris are going to start pushing. No, they're not really pushing, although they're pushing the fuel a little bit, so we're just going to go back here and try and recover for a little bit. We've got Norris, meanwhile, battling with Danny Rick. He's got Pascal Wehrlein right behind him as they hit this left-hander just at the end of the pit straight, and Norris stays ahead of Wehrlein there. Danny Rick, meanwhile, and that's Pascal Wehrlein getting past. We're going to let Norris push down the straight, although it looks like we're a little bit too far behind to make up that gap. Meanwhile, Ocon has lost a place to Danny Rick as well, chopping and changing. Alex Lynn is now off down the road in that Ferrari, having cleared the traffic. That Ferrari a lot more powerful. It looks like we're sort of in a position where we're battling the Red Bulls now. It looks like our car performances are all pretty much around the same level. So this could become a theme over the rest of this season. And who's that? That slowed down there. That's Wehrlein, who dropped back a little bit. Was it? No? Is that a different car behind? No, we've got Wehrlein there. Who's that? Is that Grosjean? Is he going any quicker than these cars as we're battling away? Grosjean is about to get on to the back of this pack. So, but Ricciardo's going to have to come in early. Ricciardo's going to make his pit stop now. We're at about 22 laps. We do want another 2 laps out of this tyre. What have we got out of it so far? We haven't actually gone that far on this tyre. So I think we're going to have to revert to a 3-stop strategy here. Vettel, it looks like, stretched out that super soft. He's going for the 2-stop strategy. Meanwhile, we're going to have to maybe revert to a 3-stop strategy, because this soft tyre is going to start degrading or losing performance at 10%. It could even start losing performance at this point. I'm not quite sure on this soft tyre, but we're sort of ahead. We're ahead of Pascal Wehrlein now. It looks like we've got past him and we can keep him behind now at a comfortable level. But Danny Rick is going to try the undercut here, so we're going to get into the pits. And since we're reverting to a 3-stop strategy, maybe there's no chance that we can do that unless we do run it really long. What has Daniel Ricciardo gone for here? Danny Rick's gone for another soft tyre, but so just to cover off Danny Rick here, we're going to go for a soft tyre. Maybe. What is Danny Rick doing? Is he pushing here? Is he still going for that 3-stop? So we're going to get on the super soft. Maybe. Are we going to lose places doing this? I'm in sort of a quandary here. 21 laps to go. This can do 21 laps if we look after it though. Should we still aim for this 2-stop? It's a long way out, so if we're going to do that, we're not going to cover off Ricciardo. Ricciardo is going for a 3-stop. I feel he's in a little bit too early. We're just going to cover this by going these extra couple of laps here and try and stick with the 1-stop, not the 1-stop, the 2-stop strategy is what we're going to try to stick with here. So Norris is going to get the little bit of power. He's got that little bit of extra power than the Red Bull, but the Red Bull Aero is better than ours, so they catch back up as we brake here. You see the Red Bull start to catch us back up as we hit here. So have we gone far enough? These tyres of Norris are going to start to fade away here, so we're going to get Norris in. We're going to keep faith with this 2-stop strategy that we're going to go for. Obviously we're going to have to look after these soft tyres a little bit better now. They're going to have to run a lot longer than we got out of this tyre. We got 16 laps out of Norris, but that was with a lot of pushing in that epic 5-way battle that we had going on. There's still no rain coming for the end of the race, and we know that there's not going to be no rain now. We've got a Toro Rosso in front that we do have to clear here, so we're going to have to waste a little bit of tyre with Norris, whereas Ocon, we're going to get him into the pits for this soft tyre. He's going to get in now. So Norris, can we clear this Toro Rosso down the straight? Although Gasly gets a good run out of that corner. We don't really want this Toro Rosso affecting Norris's pace here, but even pushing all out on this tyre, it doesn't like we're going to be able to catch, so we're just going to conserve here for a little bit. Ocon, meanwhile, is going to get out of the pits here ahead of his teammate, behind Daniel Ricciardo, who's worn this soft tyre down a little bit more than I would have expected, so we do know that he's going to go for it. Verstappen is going to go for a 2-stop in the Force India as well. Verstappen's performance is down for a bit as well, because he does have his stat at the moment, which is a budding musician stat, I think, which has knocked his performance down -2. I think I saw that on Verstappen. We've got Hülkenberg and Sainz to pit. Vettel has to pit again, although we're not in any sort of range of them. I think Hülkenberg's out of range as well of us. Could be pretty touch and go with Sainz as well, who might be getting onto a super soft tyre, so we're still in a good position to pick up a decent point haul here. But Norris, meanwhile, is still struggling behind Pierre Gasly, who does have a pit stop to make, but we're just holding form with what we're doing at the moment. We're not really going to be catching Daniel Ricciardo up. We're just going to see what our lap times are like on the first lap on this soft tyre. 17 laps to go, and Ocon does a 107.8, so we're a little bit slower than the Red Bull of Danny Rick, although I think he's got one more stop to make. So we should be able to clear Danny Rick here unless he gets 15 seconds ahead of us, whereas we've got both cars now up into the points, so we've seen someone to make a pit stop. Hülkenberg just behind us on a fresh pair of soft tyres though, so we're just going to have to take note of him. Ocon, meanwhile, is just about there. Ricciardo's moving up the road, he's about 2 seconds ahead. But we're just sort of in recovery mode now. We're in the sort of around the just past the midway point of the Grand Prix, and we're just sort of recovering a few things at the moment as we move up into 9th place as Carlos Sainz makes that pit stop. He comes out 10 seconds behind in the Haas car. He's got a lot of ground to make up on this fresh tyre. We're still waiting for Gasly to make that pit stop, so should we try clear here? We've done 20% of this tyre and we've done 4 laps, so we should be able to make it stretch 20 laps pretty easily, but the soft tyre, I think, does give way at 10%, so it's going to be touch and go, so we're going to have to run in conserve mode on this tyre at some point. Hülkenberg does have the stronger tyres, so just to make sure we can get Norris to the end, we can't really fight back here as Hülkenberg gets past. We just try to stretch out, and yeah, you can't get past Hülkenberg. Ocon, meanwhile, he's looking pretty steady for getting on for the end of the race here as well. And since Hulkenberg got past, we're just going to conserve a little bit with Norris because we pushed a little bit harder with him out with the pits. But we've got a couple of places we can make up, probably just one in Verstappen. So it's not going to be the best of races here, as it looks like the Mercedes and Ferrari, well, it doesn't look like it because I fixed their reliability. They shouldn't have any reliability problems now. So things will be back to normal from this point forward, and we get Verstappen into the pits now. Verstappen in the Force India. We should be able to get both cars out in front of him. We do, so we move up into 6th and to 9th place now. Norris goes back into 9th place after losing the 9th before to Nico Hulkenberg. He's got Pascal Wehrlein behind him, pushing on a pair of soft tyres at the moment. So we're going to get back up into neutral now with Norris, and we're going to start pushing the fuel for a little bit since we're pretty much all the way recovered now. So Ocon, looks like Danny Rick's only 3 seconds up the road. He's not managing to get this gap working that he would need to be able to get in and out of the pits. Once again, he's got half of this tyre left, 48%, so we do know that he does have to pit again. So Ocon is going to move up to 5th place. Norris could move ahead of Ricciardo. It depends how far ahead he can get. Lynn, meanwhile, might need to make another pit stop as well. So Lynn is in our range with Ocon, whereas Vettel has pitted, but we've just got the Mercedes out in front, running a long way out in front here. 1st and 2nd, Kevin Magnussen looking like he's on for, I think it's going to be his 1st win of the season. Lewis Hamilton is 2nd. They've got a massive gap. The Mercedes way on form here. But Norris has moved up into 9th place here, has he? Who's that getting past him? Is that Pascal Wehrlein actually getting past him here? We don't have much room to fight back here, although we know we've got a little bit more speed than the Red Bull. Down the straights, we're still struggling to clear Gasly here. So maybe we should try push with Norris a little bit, keep him ahead of Wehrlein. We don't really want to lose that position, and Hulkenberg's actually fallen behind here. Hulkenberg must have turned down briefly, and it has let us back past, or is it just to do with us pushing the fuel? We know we have the speed down the pit straight there. So we get Norris back up into 7th place. Ocon is currently 6th. Ricciardo is 4 seconds ahead now. He's still not getting that gap that he needs to get out far enough in front to make this final pit stop that I think he needs to make. With 10 laps remaining, he obviously does need to make a pit stop. There's no way he's going to get that soft tyre through to the end of the race. Alex Lynn, meanwhile, is not going to be able to do that either. He's 12 seconds ahead, but if he comes back in for an ultra soft tyre, which everyone should have this weekend because of the wet weather during qualifying, if Lynn can get into that, if Ricciardo can get in for that tyre as well, he's going to be really quick, so he could be nipping at the heels of Norris right at the end of this Grand Prix. But as it is, we've got 9 laps remaining now. Once Ocon comes across the line, it has been a really fun race so far with that 5-way battle that we had with Vettel. These power upgrades working pretty well. We've seen it come into effect down the straights as well, as we are still currently running 6th and 7th is Ricciardo. Now this tyre is getting pretty worn. It's at 20%, so we'll just stick with Ricciardo here for a little bit because we're under no pressure with either of our cars at the moment. We've actually managed to get Norris out ahead of the Red Bull of Pascal Wehrlein. I'm guessing he's sort of recovering on his tyre at the moment. Just going to see when the AI pits on this soft tyre, just so I know when this soft tyre reaches its, and there we go, so it is at the 10% range as I thought for this soft tyre. So Ricciardo comes into the pits. Both our cars should clean. Alex Lynn's come into the pits as well, but we don't get Norris out ahead of Alex Lynn, which I didn't think we had the pace for. Lynn has come out on a soft tyre. He should have a pair of ultra softs left. Why he hasn't done it with only 6 laps remaining, that might not allow him to clear, although he does have a lot of room. It doesn't look like he's got the fuel. Magnussen has pitted as well on this soft tyre. Magnussen has come into the pits, although he's far enough ahead, but not ahead of Vettel to stay ahead of Ocon. But he's got this ultra soft on now, so can he push at Vettel to get it back? Magnussen, who was on for a win here, but obviously those soft tyres were degrading a little bit too much for him. Hamilton shouldn't need to pit here. He should be able to get through to the end of the race, as we're currently running 4th here. We're out in front of Lynn. Lynn is lapping really quickly here. He's closed his gap up pretty quickly, 3.5, 3.2. Down the straight, he's even catching us in that Ferrari as well, where we would expect to be really strong. What are we using here? We might have to go in conserve mode for a little bit. We know we can keep clear of Pascal Wehrlein. It's just whether we can keep these tyres hanging on to the end of the race. They're going to start getting a little bit cold in a minute, but hopefully that's not going to affect us too much. I know we possibly can't, and Wehrlein has pitted as well, so that is going to work out for Norris here, and Hulkenberg is on a pair of worn tyres pretty much as well. So it's just about Ocon at the moment, whether we can hold off Alex Lynn, and Hamilton is pitting. Hamilton is into the pits. This soft tyre at 26%, surely he could have got that through to the end of the race. Mercedes aggressive on this pit stop, going for the ultras. They were in a commanding position. If Vettel can hold on here, he's absolutely stolen a result. Whereas it looks like Alex Lynn has started slowing down now. He's about 8 tenths quicker, but he's started slowing down. Vettel, even though he fixed his reliability, still has problems with his car, which we're not actually seeing from the Mercedes. I don't know whether the Ferrari actually put another new part in the car after I fixed their reliability. But Vettel does have a reliability problem here. He's on this super soft lap with 3 laps remaining. Magnussen is only 3 tenths quicker, so Magnussen might not have the pace here to catch him. Whereas Ocon, meanwhile, looks like he's getting away from Lynn a little bit. Norris as well, 21% left on this tyre. Just a couple of laps to go here. 3 laps, we're just about going to get there. We're going to run in backup mode just to make sure we can look after this tyre. Don't really want to run conserve mode with Ocon, but we do have the fuel here as well to push to stay ahead. We've actually conserved quite a bit of fuel, so we can go up into high mode with Ocon and we can go into high mode with Norris, which should negate him running in backup mode a little bit. As we got, it's actually Danny Rick who's actually caught up here, having done that 3-stop strategy. He's actually caught up here. He's 4 tenths quicker. What's he this lap? And he's actually slowed down there. He was actually slower on that last lap than Norris, even though Norris was in backup mode. So Ocon is actually pulling away from Alex Lynn here, and Magnussen and Vettel has actually come into the pits as well on that super soft. Vettel made a pit stop as well, obviously couldn't get that super soft, so everyone up here has gone for the 3 stop. So the Mercedes actually go back into the lead there. They knew what they were doing. It turns out in the end they must have had prior knowledge that Vettel wasn't going to run to the end of the race. He was going to make a pit stop and do 2 laps on an ultra soft for some reason. Whereas these tyres of Norris could go here on this final lap. We were quicker on that last lap, but they're going to hit the wall of this 10% on this last lap. But if we do lose it, hopefully we're only going to lose the 7th to Danny Rick, who's on this super soft. That's getting pretty down there as well. Magnussen and Hamilton have finished. Vettel's going to come around to finish as well. It looks like the tyres are going to go on Norris here, so we'll just go back to Norris. It looks like he's sort of lost performance here. He's got some fuel to push, mate. Hopefully we can stay in front of the Renault. Hulkenberg is going to be pushing down the pits here, but Norris holds on for that 7th place. His tyre only just going out 2%. We were outside the window of this tyre. 10% Ocon just managed. So that little bit of tyre that we wasted in trying to clear Gasly early on, when we couldn't actually end up clearing him anyway, sort of cost us that 7th place to Ricciardo. Ricciardo was a lot quicker on those super soft tyres. Although we did see him actually turn down a little bit at the end, didn't we? He was actually going a little bit slower than Norris, but we sort of made that 2-stop strategy work. A 4th and 7 is not too bad. It is where we would expect our car to be. Obviously, this is where we'll possibly be settling in now for the season, hopefully battling away with the Red Bull every race. And Lewis Hamilton has been demoted 2 places, so he loses his 2nd place on the podium. Esteban Ocon gets pushed up for another podium here, puts him in a really good position, which means that we might still be able to hold a bit of a gap over the Mercedes team in the Constructors' Championship. So, and obviously it pushes Hamilton down as well, so Ocon manages to keep a little bit more of a gap in the drivers' standings at the moment, although the Mercedes are going to be really strong now. As we've seen, Vettel is pretty strong as well, but the Mercedes absolutely dominated this race. Norris is still up there in 4th, ahead of Kevin Magnussen, who won the last race, so we still have a 32-point gap thanks to Hamilton being moved down the order, running risky parts. And as you can see, we have a 32-point gap. We're still winning the Constructors. We don't think we're actually going to win the Constructors' Championship this season, but you never know. But there's not much room to keep upgrading the car for this season, because I can't put risky parts in my car at all. I cannot risk it whatsoever, so there's not much room to actually upgrade the car. There's only a couple of suspension parts I can build before we just get into risky parts. So once we've hit Milan and we've got the new suspension parts in the car, we're not going to be really putting any new parts in the car this season. Everything is going to be focused on the car for next season. Whereas in F2, Maximilian Gunther in the Arden is winning the F2 at the moment. Who's the leading team? Arden are actually beating the AR team, who actually turned down promotion to Formula 1 last season. And we see in GP3, we see Trident winning, the junior Trident team winning F3 at the moment, GP3. I think I need to renew all these as well, so I'll do that off camera. I think everyone's got one race left in the pit crew, so I need to remember to do that once I turn off the video. Today we've actually got this new suspension built as well, which possibly isn't much of an improvement at the moment, a 1148, so it's not much of an improvement, but it is going to improve Ocon because Norris is going to be getting the better suspension and Ocon will be getting this one, which is quite a bit better than the one he's got. So we're going to get into building another new suspension here, so we'll go plus 25 to max. As you can see, there's a lot of risky parts about, so we're going to go with this one that adds plus 2, and then after this there is one that loses 15% reliability but loses 40. But there is a plus 70 and a plus 60 here, which we can chase for the end of the season, which should give us a really strong suspension for next season. So we'll get ahead building that. We're getting pretty low on money this season as well, but we do know we've got some sponsors coming up in 2 races time. Hackett, Ray-Ban and Shandon are all out of contract soon, so we'll just get on to the interview. Simple question: which one of your drivers is better? If you say I'm not answering that, it usually knocks 10% off the marketability, so we're just going to answer Esteban Ocon. It doesn't upset Norris. There's no real room to move on Ocon either. Magnussen wins his first race of the season, I think. Yes, it was his first race win of the season. So Ferrari struggling this season. Obviously, we've picked up the slack of the early season form when everyone was sort of making mistakes on the range strategy. Not quite reliable enough. Ferrari a little bit behind. Vettel hasn't actually won a race this season. Ferrari struggling at the moment. Obviously they've got Alex Lynn in this second car who's struggling, but he's not really showing himself up because he's keeping pace with Kevin Magnussen at the moment. But as it is, last season they split the wins with Mercedes, so they are struggling this season. But anyway, that is it for this video. We've got the British Grand Prix coming up next time, our home race, where I think the engine and the rear wing, which are our 2 best parts in the car, are crucial. The suspension as well, which is going to be pretty decent. Obviously that's bumped up a little bit at the moment. We're pretty strong on the suspension that we've got in the car. It's 4th overall, so we should be pretty strong for our home Grand Prix hopefully, and we could be pushing for a podium there as well. But until next time, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the usual stuff. But I'll see you down the road in Great Britain for the Guildford Grand Prix, and goodbye.